Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had a fantastic Canada Day. Maybe you got to spend some time with family, friends, saw some fireworks. I know this time of the year is usually pretty busy for me. I have a lot of family events, birthdays. Just finished helping my youngest brother move with his girlfriend to their first apartment, which was exciting yet very depressing seeing how much they're paying for such a small space, but I guess now they're adulting, as they like to say. And so I do apologize for the delay in videos. However, in regards to today's video, I want to take a look at the Liberal Party and where they stand, because a lot of the polls are showing that these MPs are not going to be holding their ridings or their seats. We had that whole email blast that went out to all the caucus members saying that they need new leadership. We have some mixed messages where on camera, the MPs are saying, no, we are fine with Trudeau, but behind closed doors, they're saying, no, we need him out. And so I want to start off by taking a look at a video that came out last week with David Cochrane when the email got released, and just kind of break down some of the comments that are made afterwards.
But we're going to start on that email from a Liberal MP to caucus calling for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to resign. A first open push for a leadership change from inside the caucus. The CBC's Aaron Weary is here with me now. So Aaron, walk us through this Wayne Long email.
So yes, the latest is that Wayne Long sent this email to essentially all of Liberal caucus, a kind of message to all of the MPs. Saying, it's a fairly brief message, saying that he believes it's time for a new leader. Wayne Long is not a stranger to some disagreements with the party, going back to 2017 when he disagreed with their position on small business tax reform. Mm-hmm. So he's always been a bit of an independent-minded MP. So it's not entirely surprising that he would be, a bit on his own on this, or at least, sort of outside the circle on that. But this is, as you say, the first time we've had from within the Liberal caucus an expression of the idea that the Prime Minister needs to go.
Right. So I think we have the email here that we can maybe show you. It's from Wayne Long it's 155 people on this email list. It says, for the future of our party and the good of our country, we need new leadership and a new direction. And he writes this after reflecting on this week's defeat in Toronto St. Paul's and seeing the response. I want you to know clearly and directly where I stand. So he says that's what precipitated it. Now, Aaron, I've been talking to Liberal MPs. Ken MacDonald, the MP from Avalon, also a critic of the government, he replied to this with, well said. I'm told then Mark Gerritsen, who's a Kingston area MP and a supporter of the Prime Minister, replied saying, for those of us planning to run again, using reply all to vent isn't helpful. Please feel free to email me directly. And just a few minutes ago, I was told that Chandra Arya, who is a Liberal MP here in Ottawa, replied all, criticized the Prime Minister for taking the party too far to the left and accused the Prime Minister and his senior staff for making some strategic mistakes, but says, we've accomplished a lot. He's been a consequential Prime Minister, and I still support him, and I will be happy to run under him. So it seems like Wayne Long, whatever his intentions were here, has burst the dam for an aggressive conversation in the caucus.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the other caveat here is that Wayne Long is not running again, as Mark Gerritsen sort of implied there.
Ken MacDonald is not running again.
Ken MacDonald is not running again. So it may be cast these things in a different light, but the threat, the risk for the Prime Minister is that, as you say, this sort of breaks the dam, and it, to mix our metaphors, it sort of snowballs after this, right? I think that you've already seen last night or this morning, Catherine McKenna's statement suggesting that she believes the Prime Minister should leave. It's not so much one of these statements. It's the idea that after one has come out, another follows and another and another. And soon you're dealing with a pretty sizable number of people.
Yeah.
Now, right off the bat, I find it pretty pathetic that it's the Liberal MPs that aren't going to be running again, or former Liberal members like Catherine McKinnon and Wayne Long, that are the ones putting forward this suggestion to get rid of Trudeau. Because it should be the ones that are potentially going to be running again, the ones that want to hold their riding, want to hold their seat. The writing has been on the wall that the Liberal Party has been on a downslope. You can see it on all the polls. People are very unhappy. And a lot of Liberal ridings are looking like they're going to be going Conservatives, as we'll touch upon a little bit later in the video. But it's also pathetic that you have MPs who made this very clear, like Ken MacDonald, who was the one who replied saying, well said, who flip-flopped. He was on CBC. He said what he said. We probably need a new leader. Then when he got called out on that, he said, oh, no, that's not what I meant. And now again, he's saying that he agrees with this. And if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, this was an interview that he had when he said this.
I think in Atlantic Canada is much the same as the rest of the country. It's there's almost a hatred out there right now for Prime Minister Trudeau.
You feel it?
Yeah, oh yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
At the door?
At the doors, at events I go to, people will bring it up. Somebody will send me an email and he said, the only thing that will hurt you in the next election is your leader.
What do you think about that?
I think he's close to the sentiment of the majority of people in the country right now.
Speak, at least there should be a leadership review in the Liberal Party.
Yes, let's clear the air. Let's as a party, let's clear the air, and if people are still intent on having the leader we have now, fine. But at least give people the opportunity to have their say of what they think the direction the party is going.
And if there were a review like that, would you continue supporting Justin Trudeau, or would you look for somebody else?
I would want to see the slate of candidates that would come forward and hear from them individually, and then I would make up my mind.
Okay. So it's not clear for you right now whether Justin Trudeau is the right leader for the Liberal Party?
No, it's not clear.
Now, we already have a video covering this back in January when it happened, and I don't know if Ken thought that maybe nobody watches CBC, so they won't see this interview. But shortly after the interview, he came out walking back his statement saying that Trudeau was a great campaigner, that he wasn't insisting that there needed to be a leadership review. However, when you listen to the actual full interview, he's quoted saying, the interviewer said, "You seem to suggest that there needs to be some sort of shakeup, like maybe a leadership shakeup or something." Ken then says, "Even a leadership review, right?" And she says, "You want a leadership review?" And he then replies, "A leadership review." So he mentions leadership reviews I don't know how many times in this interview, but him and Wayne Long are not going to be running again next year. They've come out and they've said it. Wayne Long was a backbencher. I'm pretty sure Ken McDonald sat pretty far in the back. So it's kind of sad that these are the guys that are coming forward and saying that there should be new leadership. But this is something that's brought up in a new recent interview with David Cochrane and Ken McDonald that just happened the other day. And this is how that went.
MP Ken McDonald supports the call for a National Caucus meeting, and McDonald has been a vocal critic of the Prime Minister in the past, and he joins me now from St. John's. Ken McDonald, good to see you again.
Good to hear from you as well.
I want to talk about the Prime Minister's future in just a second, but you revealed today that your future as a Liberal MP is soon going to be over, that you met with the Prime Minister last month and told him you weren't running again. What did you tell Justin Trudeau in that meeting?
I actually met with him on June 17th. I requested the meeting, and I just felt out of respect. He's treated me with respect as far as I'm concerned, and I wanted to do the same. I advised him that it was my intention not to have my name on the ballot in the next election in 2025.
Okay, let's talk about federal politics again. When Wayne Long sent his email to the caucus on Friday, you were the very first MP to reply all. You said, "Well said," with an exclamation point. Does that mean you agree with Wayne Long that the Liberals need a new leader?
It means that I agree there has to be a conversation. When it comes to who the leader is, whether it's Justin Trudeau or somebody else, I've said many times before that if the Prime Minister decides to leave, that's his decision to make. But I do think it is badly needed to try and calm the waters, I guess, to a certain effect, is that we need to have an in-person caucus and allow people to speak frankly. That election in Toronto St. Paul's, I think, is a sounding board that is telling us that, listen, your day is here, and if things don't change, you're not going to go no further.
And what Ken is saying is spot on, because after the Liberals lost St. Paul's, new Nanos polling has come out, and the predictions of all these different ridings like Toronto, Ontario, which were very much Liberal, are looking to be a little bit more of a mix or leaning towards more conservative. As well as places like in Vancouver, where it was all Liberal with a little bit of NDP, is now pretty much all conservative, as they're predicting. And you're going to see that in this clip here.
Next door, in Ontario, I'd love to start with the GTA first and see if what happened in Toronto St. Paul's is a sign of what's to come. What's happening there?
Well, you can see if you look in the little map, the Toronto St. Paul's riding itself is in black, which means it's too close to call. It's within 2%, which is actually what the results of the by-election were, basically a couple percentage points. But, look at the ridings like Eglinton Lawrence and York Centre. In what we're seeing basically in Toronto is the Conservatives being much more competitive in Toronto. So they could pick up ridings like Eglinton Lawrence and York Centre. And ridings like Willowdale looking pretty good for the Conservatives. And so what we're seeing is the liberal fortress Toronto basically under siege. So maybe Toronto St. Paul's is the canary in the coal mine. And a lot of these ridings like the Don Valleys and Willowdales and St. Paul's and all those ridings and the Etobicoke, when the Conservatives start picking up those ridings, that's usually indicative of a big Conservative win. Those are the ridings that were held when Mulroney was Prime Minister, for example, and had really big wins.
Nick, I think I know what you're going to say about the prairies. I think but maybe there's a surprise. What's happening there?
Still blue. How's that? I don't know how much we can say. The Conservatives have their base in terms of seats are the prairie provinces.
Mm-hmm.
They were a lock and have been a lock for the Conservatives.
Finally, Nick, British Columbia, always wild over there. Always interesting. What's happening with the latest?
Yeah. The Conservatives are competitive. The Liberals are competitive. The New Democrats are competitive, as are the Green Party of Canada. They're really, truly, multi-party races with vote splits. And British Columbia can be like multiple ridings, like the Lower Mainland compared to the interior. Very different things. But zoom into Vancouver, which is you can see on the right-hand side, the previous election, very red, very liberal. Look how blue it is right now. And this speaks to the sea change that's happening right now, where in those ridings where the Conservatives, the Liberals, and the NDP are competitive, those three-way splits are really helping the Conservatives.
Now, I don't know about you, but that's painting a very bleak picture for the Liberal Party as everything's shifting to blue from all those maps and images. But I'm sure somebody, or you yourself are most likely voting Conservative in the next election, so it's not too surprising. But when we get back to the interview with David and Ken, David asks Ken, do you think a majority of the MPs still support Trudeau? What can he do to kind of bring the party back? And this is what Ken has to say.
But I think having a in-person caucus meeting would allow everybody to speak their mind, and with no repercussions, because the conversations might be somewhat difficult at times. But and in the past, the Prime Minister has always been there to listen to individuals or as a group. If nothing else, David, it'll let people clear the air and then walk out of that room united as you like or divided as you like. But if you want it to be divided, if you don't have that caucus meeting, you're driving a wedge. And I think it would serve everybody better to have that in-person caucus meeting.
Okay, so
exactly what's on their minds.
The next scheduled caucus meeting is not until September, as I understand it, I believe, which is quite a bit of time away. Do you think they will wait until then? Do you think they can wait until then? What are the consequences if they do wait?
I don't think they can wait till then, because I think the feelings of caucus members now, for a lot of them, are that they're not getting through to the Prime Minister, which is rare. Usually the Prime Minister is there to listen to caucus and to listen to individuals. But on this one, I think it's not getting through, or somebody who's ever advising the Prime Minister is saying that's something you might want to stay away from right now. Let the dust settle.
Now, Ken's definitely right about that. Somebody on his team has told him to lay low, get out of the limelight, wait until the dust settles, as Ken said, because multiple news outlets today came out with articles about how Trudeau is no longer going to the Calgary Stampede. The Globe and Mail, CTV News, Global News, Justin Trudeau's missed this year's Calgary Stampede, his office says. This one says, Trudeau missing Calgary Stampede this summer, his only absence outside of COVID-19 years. And this one from the Globe and Mail, Trudeau no longer going to Calgary Stampede as some Liberal MPs call for his resignation. So you could definitely say that Trudeau's gone into some sort of hiding. And this is clear since they lost St. Paul's. He hasn't really been making any appearances. He did, however, make this one appearance on CBC, and they even asked him about what he's going to do as the leader of the party. And this is what he had to say.
Justin Trudeau says he is committed to staying on as Prime Minister after his party's shocking by-election loss in Toronto last week. He spoke to CBC News as part of an annual Canada Day interview yesterday.
I'm wondering, in terms of personal contemplation, if there's any discussion or a thought for you of a 10th Canada Day as Prime Minister, because as I have you, I would be remiss if I didn't ask about what has happened in the last week since the by-election in Toronto, St. Paul's, and the calls from caucus members and former cabinet colleagues. They say it's time for a new leader.
Listen, there's always going to be lots of reflection after a tough loss, but there's also so much to do, and I am committed to doing the work of building a better Canada every single day. So I look forward to next year's Canada Day, and I look forward to many more Canada Days. This is the kind of work that we have to remember really, really matters. There are tough days and there are better days, but Canadians are strong and resilient, and that's why we keep moving forward.
Well, he's finally right about something. Canadians are going to be trying to move forward, and it's not going to be involving him, because we're hoping with all of this stir and the loss of St. Paul's and all these MPs calling him out, he won't be there any longer, and there won't be another 10th Canada Day to celebrate with him. But as always, this is just my opinion. I'd love to hear from you guys, so let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. As always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.